Hello and welcome to another episode of the Root of the Science podcast with your girl Anne with an E. And this is the second episode in the 2024 Polio Eradication series. Women are considered the backbone of global immunization efforts due to their strength in supporting their community. They overcome gender discrimination, stigma, and even violence to protect children against vaccine-preventable diseases. In Nigeria, women are at the heart of polio immunization efforts. In this episode, Teresa, our show producer, brings us a story of Dr. Lola, who has played a pivotal role in increasing polio vaccine access, building trust in vaccine, and ultimately contributing to Nigeria's success eradicating wild polio.
Dr. Lola has been involved in polio eradication for over 8 years and was previously a bedside doctor before she joined the polio eradication program in Kano. Shortly after that, she became the coordinator of all polio vaccination activities in that state.
Okay, the name is Nihinlola Mabogunje. It's a tongue-twisting name. Don't worry, it's a tongue-twisting one. But that name has gone into quiet, and people just call me Lola. Doctor, I'd like to emphasize that the name is Nihinlola Mabogunje. My background is medicine. I was born in the North to a humble teacher's family that has a lot to do with my lifestyle now. My mother was a teacher and my mentor. That's key for me. Currently, I'm in Abuja. From being a bedside doctor, I was called upon. I use that word. I was called upon to join the polio program when they had challenges in Kano. I was then in Kano. I think they were impressed about the number of women that visits the facility I work, because on Mondays, we could have about 1,000 women with their sick children coming. So they came up to me and asked me if I wanted to join the polio program. I was a bit hesitant at that time because I love being a bedside doctor. That was my life. That's what I was used to. And one of the doctors sat with me, was talking to me. You will reach more people, this and that. I wasn't really convinced because I liked seeing those women. They were my life. They were part of me. And I'm used to them. So reluctantly, I agreed to join for a short time and see whether I would like it or not. It pays them because I became the coordinator for polio for Kano, coordinating all the agencies then at the time that the polio was storming in Kano. So vis-a-vis that, and currently I have moved to Abuja. I'm retired, but not tired. I don't do much of active work. Since I had cancer 2 years ago, I decided to be take it easy with my life. I had cancer of the breast, but that's neither here nor there. So what I do basically in Abuja now is engage women to be self-assertive, to know what they want, to take decisions that affect their life. And in Abuja presently, we have a coalition of women group that I'm not the leader. I'm just a convener. The leader is there. And they take an active role on ensuring that health issues are talked about. They advocate if there are issues in Abuja, and that's basically what I do. Actually, they were involved of recent in identifying zero doses. Why are children still remaining zero doses in this country? What's happening? So that's what I do half of my time, and I enjoy it. I think more than 8 years, and I'm still involved. You can never stop being involved in polio because it is. I was actively involved when I was called at that time. Dr. Ibrahim, I told you, it took me time. But I told them, let me come out and see if I could support. I believe in immunization. That's key for me. And the doctor that came to call me actually came based on my belief that is the most cost-saving intervention that has ever been made. You immunize a child. It's dramatic. Even when we had the epidemic of measles, we tried to do a study, the children that had the vaccination and the ones that not. The progress was very different. So those are the things that drew me into polio. So when I got involved in Kano, it was for 8 years. I was chosen then by MPI to coordinate all partners. Maybe because I seem to understand the terrain of Kano. And there was a lot of rejection of polio vaccine. So I had to waddle through that. I remember the publication that was made about me, The Woman in the Eye of the Polio Storm. Was a good catch-up because it was quite stormy. Stormy then. It was the height of the polio storm. So we're able to wade through it. Yes.
The polio vaccine non-compliance, then and even now, is a key hindrance to achieving 0 doses for children below 5 years. Dr. Lola explains how she was involved in increasing the acceptance of the polio vaccine in northern Nigeria.
There was no one way. It was quite a lot of effort. Not just me, it's everybody that contributed. The government had a role to play on their own. So I was meeting with those who were against polio. Those ones, we had several meetings, midnight, daytime, all kinds of meetings we had with the people who are actually saying no to polio. But the point about me is that, and the women, they believe in me. I have worked with them all my life. So one way to test my own popularity was I went back to the hospital on a Monday, and the women were gathered. And I stood up and I spoke to them about the polio vaccine. They asked me a very simple question. Very simple. They called me Mama. Mama, this thing you are talking about, would you give your child? And I responded, unfortunately, my son is past that age. He was about 20-something then. And I have no grandchildren, because you have to be honest. However, if I've had him, I would have been the first. He was given at that time, and if I had grandchildren on that day, they'll be the first I would give it to. And they all, well, they were quite happy with that, because they have not known me to tell lies to them, because I told the truth. And the women said, continue. Only one woman left, and they jeered at her. I had to tell them, no, don't do that to her. It's her decision. It is not yours. It's a personal decision. So let her go. But it was quite satisfying for me that women believed in me genuinely, without anything. So I started getting other women engaged in the polio issue, particularly the religious women.
There were times she had to travel a long way to reach the children and ensure that no child is missed by taking vaccines to non-compliant, hard-to-reach areas and nomadic settlements.
And I remembered we went to one community, about 100, Fulani settlement, which were traveling. And when we got there, I was called on to go there, that they were refusing polio. The person who was taking me there told me there were hyena on the road and lion. And I turned to him, obviously he didn't want to go. And I asked him, in Jigawa, has he killed the children of the Fulani? He said, no, they understand. I said, we have a jeep, we go in there. So you enter and let's go. If there are hyena on the road, let us see it when we are crossing. It was actually, there's a big forest in Jigawa. We crossed, I didn't see any hyena. I'm just to deter me from going. We had to cross a river with this thing. My driver came out to test the water, how deep it is, and we waded across. When we got to the community, I greeted them. I normally pick little words of any community I'm going to. So the first thing I do with you is to speak your language. They were Fulani. And I know just 2 words, and that relaxed them. I want to jump. And they said, jump. And they go, and I said, okay, continue. And I asked them, I came here because I was told you are refusing your children to take vaccine. They said, yes, because it's infertility. I said, who told them? They said they gathered. I said, okay, we spoke on it. And luckily, I have my computer I normally play with. And the traditional leader, was elected by the then Sedkin Dutse. So I now showed him a picture of myself. That's a simple way I did. I said, I said, does he recognize that man? He said, yeah. He then moved back. He said, I said, that's the Sedkin Dutse. And I came here with his permission. He asked me one word, do you know him? I said, did you see the way we stood? We were actually chatting. Because it was a conversation between you and an old friend. We were actually chatting. So he said, you know him? I said, yes. And I said, he knows I'm going to be here because I told him I had a challenge. And he said, if I couldn't resolve it, I should let him know. He said, no, you won't go back to telling you didn't resolve it. And I think we immunized over 59 children on that day.
While traveling to these very remote villages to administer the polio vaccines, Dr. Lola says she experienced many challenges. She recounts one near-death ordeal when she visited a Fulani community.
There was another community we went to in Jigawa State, and I reported to the emir that there was a non-compliance community, and he gave me somebody to follow me. And you can see I was matching with somebody to go to that community. Then when we got to the community, called the meeting. The village head called the meeting. When we called the meeting, I sat very proud of myself that they called the meeting. My driver was outside in the car, and I was seated with the village head that he sent me with. And I noticed something because I'm quite observant. At that meeting, when we got in with the man, one will get up and go and never come back. They were leaving the meeting one by one. I felt it was rude. But I didn't understand what was happening. For Fulanis to walk out with another village head at a meeting was very rude for me. But, well, I wasn't interested in them. Let me face the children that brought me. You know what happened? As we continued talking, my driver ran into that room and shouted on me. She called me Mama. Mama, get up. Mama, he has never spoken to me like that all my life, up till now. He said, Mama, get up. And when he gave that order, something told me, don't argue. And then I now told the man where I came. I said, Tachidala, let's go. Let's go. And the way he grabbed me, threw me into the car with this man. And we were confused. What was happening? What's happening to us? And he was driving in, he was not talking. He was just driving, just wanted to put that village behind us. And I was still shocked by that encounter because I wasn't myself. After traveling for about 20 minutes, I said, Nesibi, are you okay? What happened? That he didn't say a word to me. He just wanted to put it behind him. Then after some time, he now spoke and turned to the man I went with. He said, do you know this village? The man said, yeah, about 15 years ago. He now said, what happened to the man? He said, yeah, there was an issue that was reported to the district head, and the process, one of the Fulani lost his life. Do you know what they were discussing? They were discussing how to come and attack the man. My driver is Fulani. He had them. That's why they were going out. They recognized him and they were coming back to take vengeance. And he said, knowing me, I was going to stand up and try to, what for? So he didn't even want that. It wasn't me they were coming to. And because I brought that man, he knows my inclination. I was going to try and say no to try. And they may kill me in the process.
Even with all the challenges she has faced during her years of service in the polio eradication program, Dr. Lola is happy that she contributed to the key milestones made in Nigeria. She draws important lessons from it.
And you must be honest. If I don't have an answer to the question the women ask me, I'll tell them, I'll go back. I'll come back and give it. So there must be an openness with you to deal with them. You must be part of them. You must identify with them. You must understand why they are taking decisions. At least like this word, why do you take a decision? The decision time. They have a reason for not taking a decision. It's a decision. And you must bear with them and understand with them. And be careful of how we treat them. We're just lucky that our parents sent us to school. We could have been like that. I always tell myself, we could be. So my word is understand women, be part of them. And then key for me is using community structures. You can't bring somebody from a far place to come and work on issues like immunization without making a mistake. You must be part of that person, people, to make sure they are. One was, I was talking in a place in Jigawa, and a woman rushed out and said, that voice sounds like Dr. Lola's voice. They were non-compliance. I can't even remember her. She told me a story of her child. I don't remember. And she said, if it's this woman, let's do it. So people must know you for your honesty of purpose, not a political figure. You must be honest in dealing with them. So those are my keywords.
Initially, men were the primary polio workers. However, it quickly became evident that they were unable to reach children under the age of 5 because they were not permitted to enter homes according to cultural norms in northern Nigeria. The involvement of women in polio eradication has proven to be the key solution to various challenges, including the widespread rejection of the oral polio vaccine, high levels of non-compliance, and child absenteeism during immunization campaigns. By going door to door, women are able to reach populations that were previously overlooked.
The women involved in polio eradication in Nigeria play a crucial role in tracking and resolving routine immunization dropouts, non-compliant families, and defaulters, as well as strengthening the surveillance for acute flaccid paralysis, otherwise known as AFP in Nigeria. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Root of the Science podcast with your girl, Anne with an E. Until next time, goodbye.